Welcome to the Family Office Project video series. I'm your host, Jon Carroll. In this video, I'll be speaking with Patty Fitzsimmons, VP of Accounting at Aquilance. Aquilance is a top-tier provider of bill pay, bookkeeping, accounting, reporting, and operational support for individuals, families, and family offices. And before we get started, I'd like to thank FundCount, our sponsor for this video. FundCount is a comprehensive multi-asset class platform with global support and a strong commitment to client service. FundCount is a single integrated platform that consolidates portfolio and partnership accounting in one system, providing accurate and readily available investment information for analysis and decision-making. FundCount streamlines efficiency. It provides flexible and almost effortless reporting, and finally offers global support of over 16 hours of daily support, ensuring that your service is there when you need it. Now I'd like to introduce our guest today, Patty Fitzsimmons, CPA, Vice President of Accounting at Aquilance. Patty has leadership experience in investment operations, accounting, and strategic planning, with particular expertise in leveraging technology to drive innovation and efficiency enhancements, and to coordinate services provided by custodial banks, investment managers, legal counsel, tax, and audit into accounting operations. She has experience in fund accounting and performance reporting for various investments across all asset classes, and has worked with numerous fund and portfolio structures like partnerships, hedge funds, and mutual funds over the course of her career. She began her career as an auditor with KPMG. Thank you, Patty, for joining us today and for sharing your thoughts and insights with me on this videocast. Welcome.
Thank you, Jon. I appreciate the introduction, and it's great to be here. Looking forward to it.
If you don't mind, maybe you could say a few words about your firm and the areas of focus for your role as VP of Accounting.
Sure. So Aquilance has been in business for over 30 years. It actually started as a CPA firm, a family-run business, to provide services relating to bill pay for high net worth families. And over the years, we've evolved. Some of the clients that we have been with us for over 30 years. And about 5 years ago, we started offering some additional services surrounding more robust accounting, investment accounting, partnership accounting, performance returns, and reporting associated with that. And that's what my group does. So I had up a team here. We work with all types of clients that need these types of services. A lot of times they have a lot of private equity investments. We do their bill pay for them. They have very sophisticated funding requirements for their investments or their capital calls. We work with them on that. We provide operational oversight where we work with their other team members outside of Aquilance, their tax preparers, their estate planners, their attorneys, their CFOs.
So Aquilance is a firm that provides critical accounting, reporting, and administrative services to its clients, as I understand it, Patty. And it does not offer investment advice, tax planning, or tax compliance. But it does engage in three important and very critical areas in support of its clients. One, personal bookkeeping and bill pay. Two, entity accounting, investment accounting, and performance reporting. And three, enhanced bookkeeping and financial reporting. And while it offers other administrative services, those three areas are the areas where it does most of its work with its clients. Why don't you take this opportunity to give us an overview of your bill pay and bookkeeping process, and maybe even some examples of how the process supports exceptional client experiences?
Absolutely. So if a client comes to us for bill pay services, of course, every service we provide to our customers is customized for that particular family. But typically, we would have a designated disbursement account at a bank of the client's choosing, where we're going to make any payments that they need out of that. We record those transactions in accounting records and can provide regular reporting to the families in terms of all the payments that have been made. But the most important part of bill payment and our services relate to that is the actual management of the bills. We have a process and some technology to manage those payments to make sure that we know when the property taxes are due.
I'm wondering if you can give me some sense of the talents and the professional experience of your team that supports the bill pay process.
Sure. So we have a wide range of professionals because my team handles both bill pay and investment accounting and reporting and performance reporting, things like that. We have a wide range of professionals. Some of the individuals on my team have actually worked for CPA firms doing bookkeeping or tax preparation, although we don't do it here. We have someone that has their JD, who's an actual attorney that works on our staff, not doing legal services, but really more involved with the investments and helping with issues that come up. We have individuals that are CPAs that have worked in family offices, or also we have people that work for investment firms and are either in operations or investor relations, things like that. As well as corporate accounting, people bring some of their knowledge from how accounts payable is handled in those organizations. So we have a broad range of talent here. Some people worked at in banking as well. A large range of talent because we have such a wide range of client. Every family is very different. Every situation is unique. But the most important characteristics of our people are the people themselves. They need to be able to speak clearly, have very good communication skills, detail-oriented, very caring personalities that we have here, because they're invested in their work and they're making sure that they do the best job for our clients. I mean, it's very important to them.
How many people on your team altogether?
So I would say at Aquilance, we probably have about 35 people. In my particular team, we have six. And we handle the more complex clients, I guess you'd say. We use FundCount as our technology tool to do that. We also have an office in Hunt Valley, Maryland, where there are accounting professionals there as well. They handle both the bill payment services that we provide, as well as the enhanced bookkeeping. And what that service is some clients don't need full detailed investment accounting and things like that, but they might need balance sheets or a statement of net worth, a more summarized version of what we do. And that's what the enhanced bookkeeping is. So they're doing bill payment and some general accounting to provide financial statements.
So with regard to bill pay and bookkeeping services alone, what enhancements do you see in the near term, or are you considering making to the bill pay and bookkeeping process to enhance client experience?
I would say one of the things we've developed is a proprietary software over the past number of years. That's one of the enhancements they've continued to work on, which is the bill management system I spoke about earlier. I would say the next frontier for bill payment is really delivery of information to clients and using technology to enhance that. We have a client portal right now. We're working on more sophisticated reporting or dashboards and things like that. Right now, it's a very individualized experience for reporting, and we're working on that as well, using current trends in technology to do that.
Great. So a proprietary software for bill pay and in support of bookkeeping and bill pay services, and FundCount as a core tool for your investment accounting and partnership accounting.
Yep.
And investment performance reporting, I expect.
Yes, exactly.
And
so we have two different platforms.
Okay. And those are integrated in the sense that you can reference either or both in support of a client's needs. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. In fact, well, we do use the accounts payable module in FundCount for the clients that are on that system. It's fully integrated for them. So we're using that portion of FundCount to make those payments and to track those vendors. For clients that are not on FundCount, they use a different method to track that. But the proprietary management system is used across all the clients.
Okay. So FundCount is really an integrated solution for you then in
absolutely.
service of your most complex clients, right?
Yes.
Both asset debit side of the balance sheet and the credit side, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. We have numerous entities on the system, multiple billions of dollars we're doing accounting for, lots of different types of entities, trust partnerships, personal and rev trusts, small commercial buildings. It handles all of it.
Great. I'd love for you to share a story or two about some problem that you resolved or that you identified and then ultimately resolved for a client using your proprietary and FundCount systems and well as your process.
Yep. A lot of things we find when we're onboarding clients that maybe need to be addressed. So for instance, when we were onboarding a certain client, we go through all their automobiles and make sure that that we have the correct billing for their policies. And we happen to find one auto that did not have an insurance policy. So we contact the agent to see maybe we don't have the correct information. And they said, oh, no, it's certainly covered. But we still didn't see a bill for that. And we followed up again, and it happened to be that auto was not covered. And the client potentially could have been liable for if something happened. So we were able to rectify that. I mean, that has happened more than once, actually. Also, when we're setting up a personal financial statement, we go through and we understand what all the properties are, and we set those up on the FundCount system. And we had a client that, we set all of their individual homes and other locations up on the system. And then, 6 months later, we found out that there was another house in France, actually, that they forgot about. So it's really helpful to the clients to eventually get a full picture of what the reality of what their life is, instead of what, it really is a source of truth for them. And they really appreciate it because they're very busy people and they like to know that everything is just taken care of for them. And that's our main goal, that we got this, and, we'll reach out with questions and we will provide oversight and we will check on things and make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to be working.
Providing a real sense of security.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm almost certain that the bulk of probably most or maybe even all of your most complex client relationships own illiquid or private or non-marketable assets and investments. And so talk to us a little bit about how you support the accounting and reporting, especially performance reporting for those types of assets.
Absolutely. So because I have a team of professionals they're very good at investment accounting and they're very experienced with it. We use the FundCount system to, every asset is accounted for on the system. Private equity, art collections, yachts, airplanes, things like that. But also maybe private loans that a family may have given to friends of theirs or friends and family. Also, there's other, it really runs the gamut. Companies that they own or investments they've made in small businesses, we keep track of it all. And one of the great things is we have the ability to monitor when the most recent valuation was. If there are capital statements, we of course update the values based on the most recent capital statement, and we can check on that and make sure we have the most recent because of some of the tools that FundCount provides in their reporting. We calculate internal rates of return for those types of partnerships typically, but we can also calculate time-weighted returns. The system has the ability to do both types and create portfolios. So some clients like to see a portfolio of their real estate or a portfolio of their private investments and a overall rate of return on those particular investments. And we provide that to them in a customized way, all using the system. So I would say 99% of our reporting comes right out of the system, and it doesn't require further manipulation.
Can you say a word or two about the checks and balances that the team provides in addition to the sort of the system checks and balances that you get from data flowing into it in an automated fashion and the system itself needing to balance on a regular basis? So maybe you can talk a little bit about the way that the people on the team provide checks and balances.
That's a great question, and I'd love to address that. I mean, one of the things that's really great is everyone on the team really gets to know their clients really well. So one of the most important things is to ask questions. If they're reviewing something and it doesn't look right, or it looks like an anomaly, we will reach out and get additional information. If a private equity investment cap statement looks really out of line in terms of what we would expect, we'll call the investment advisor to just ask that question. Is that correct? And do some follow-up. We might look at the audited financial statements and just see if anything unusual is happening there. We do the best we can in terms of reviewing and putting questions out there where they need to be answered. We've found things where there was a bank conversion and the bank conversion did not go well in terms of a particular portfolio, went from one bank to another, and we monitored that the whole way through and pointed out any issues for the new advisor and our client so that they could really follow up this operational oversight, but not so much maybe in the family wealth world.
Yeah, I mean, I think that any person or institution can make a mistake. And
Absolutely.
People who understand the transactions, who understand the accounting, who understand the relationship with the client to be aware and to be providing oversight. Now, one of the things I know that's been happening in recent years is the explosion of cryptocurrency as an asset. And I'm wondering if any of your clients hold crypto portfolios, and if they do, how do you account for them and deal with them in the normal course?
Sure. I would say most of the clients that we've seen don't have individual wallets, crypto wallets. They have investments in funds that make investments in crypto. I mean, that's for the most part. So the accounting for that is pretty similar to accounting for a private equity investment because it's an investment in a fund. We do have some cases where there are crypto wallets and we are accounting for the individual's, let's say, Bitcoin investment. And we do that based on information we get from the wallet or when we can price that daily or monthly in terms of for example, in Bitcoin, what the ending month-end closes of that particular currency, just like we would track a equity in terms of that type of level of information. We can report buys and sells and realized gains, unrealized gains, track any transactions in that particular currency. So, as I said, we haven't seen a lot of it, but we have the capabilities to track it if a client comes to us with that.
While we're on the topic of enhanced accounting and reporting, maybe you can talk a little bit about the different types of ownership structures that you see. I know you've mentioned partnerships a couple of times, and I know you've worked across the boards in all the different sorts of ownership structures that exist. And I'm just wondering if there's anything new or special that's happened in terms of what you've seen, and if so, how you've accounted for it.
Sure. So I would say we have seen quite a few different structures that we do accounting for. Of course, they're personal entities, irrevocable trusts, GRATs we do accounting for, beneficial interest trusts, partnerships that might own a building, family partnerships, which they're both partnerships, but generally the intent is a little different. We've also worked with, there's a greater, I would see there's growth in the management company partnerships for family offices that I have seen that where some families are creating more of a management company to run their operations out of, and then invest in underlying investment partnerships. I think that area is growing. But we've pretty much seen them, I would say, a lot of different things.
Yeah, that last example you gave, was that like a fund of funds in a way?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And
Right.
the management company kind of operates like a GP.
GP, right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that, the attorneys and the wealth and tax planning professionals seem to be constantly being focused on creating legal structures and entity structures that challenge us accountants to deal with.
Yes.
I'd like to move on to your thinking and methodology and approach to planning. And I know as VP of accounting, you do have to think ahead. Your business is growing leaps and bounds, and expanding, the team and locations and clients and the types of clients you're working with. And I'd really love for you to expand on, your use of planning to manage your team and manage the responsibilities that you have to provide support to your clients. Maybe even considering some of the process enhancements that you're thinking about for the coming year or two.
Sure. So I'll take that in two parts. I think one of the things when we get a new client, we plan when we onboard. So we want to make sure that when we're structuring them on our system and in our processes, that it's using best practices and we're setting them up in the way that's most efficient going forward. So we will make sure we have the entities correctly set up in terms of, and it's usually those entities that require tax reporting. That's usually how we decide which entities we're going to set up in the system and which will be kind of consolidated with other entities. For example, like a LLC that's meant to hold a home for liability purposes. It doesn't need separate tax reporting, so we might make sure that that's in with the Rev Trust, things like that. So we want to make sure we set up each individual client correctly so that going forward, once it's on board, the process is as efficient as possible. And that gets me to the second point, just planning for the overall growth of the department, because we have had a lot of growth over the years since I started, and bringing on a lot more clients. So we're really happy with the system that we have in place, the FundCount system, but we're always looking for ways to make the inputs into the system more efficient and use technology to do that and get the outputs out of the system in a more interactive way or as efficient as possible. So those are the areas we focused on. For example, one of the things we did was in terms of broker feeds, so that they're feeding into the system. We set up one broker feed initially, so that would automatically daily bring the transactions in. But after going through the process for one, and we knew we'd have a lot more brokers to add because clients come to us and we take them as they are. So we decided to get another firm involved to actually consolidate the data files that we're getting from the broker so that when we add a new broker to our mix, the file's already in place, and the data will just start flowing freely once that feed is enacted. So we kind of try to plan for the future in terms of not just what we need right now, but what we're going to need going forward, and will help. I mean, we're working on ways to more streamline the process of getting credit card transactions into the system and banking transactions. We're looking at opportunities to import digitally information from private equity investments. We do work with a couple of aggregators right now and potentially can download that information. And it really depends on cost benefit right now. As we explore, we know what our process is right now. We know how much time it takes. We know how efficient it is. And we look at, is it a potential enhancement? We just want to make sure it's not going to take more time to check it than to actually do it. So that's the cost benefit we're looking at. But of course, we're always looking for ways to potentially import our invoices into the system or automatically input the payments in.
So Patty, thanks for that. It sure sounds like you've got a dynamic and evolving business. And is there anything that you'd like to say to those listening and watching where you think the industry is headed in the next decade or so, and maybe even reflect back on what has changed the most for you in the last 10, 15 years in working in this business?
I would say there's been a growth of outsourcing that we've seen from families themselves, as well as family offices. They may not close down, but they may outsource the accounting services and the technology associated with that to other firms. We've seen that. We've seen, and people are very interested in that because, as you would know, I'm sure, it takes a lot to staff up a family office with people with the caliber and experience that is needed for the complex investments that these families have. So I've seen that. I would say also I've seen a little bit more of a move towards more institutional standards and practices on the family office and private wealth side of things. I would say historically they've been, I think, a lot of the standardization happened on the institutional side of things. And I think a lot of that may be also coming to the private wealth.
So I heard two things that you've seen happen in the last decade or so. One is a move towards outsourcing to professional service firms. That's one thing. And then the other is the increased professionalization within the family office and also within those service providers to provide a more institutional level of service and support.
I think as families become more complex, they need, more different services than they may have needed in the past. I mean, if they aren't too complex, QuickBooks and Excel might be okay. But after significant growth or estate planning that creates a lot of different entities, that might not be sufficient. And that might be one of the reasons why they outsource more than they had.
Yeah, the beauty of the current state of our industry is that there's just a whole spectrum, a range of solutions that are available to people. And since there's no one size fits all, the challenge is to find the right solution for your family office, or even for yourself as an individual, right?
Exactly.
Patty, thank you so much for your time today and sharing your insights. Great talking with you. If you would like to reach out to Aquilance, learn more, please contact Patty. Her details will be in the description. And I want to say also thanks again to FundCount for sponsoring this conversation. This is Jon Carroll for the Family Office Project saying thank you for watching and we'll see you next time.